John Terrodes of the Toronto Star describes ASANI music as infused with First Nations drumming and chant, but it goes well beyond that with the sounds of folk, blues, a bit of jazz, and the soulful insistence of traditional spirituals. ASANI means rock in Cree, and the three singers are not afraid to hurl themselves at our windows of complacency, both within and outside their communities. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome again ASANI.
Thank you. We started out today's ceremony with a song that we originally composed specifically for Athabasca University Convocation. Mr. Haikisik speaks about the perseverance and the commitment and dedication that everyone on this stage has shown. And it talks about going forward now walk forward into the big, vast sky, for the possibilities are endless.
In the Cree language, this next song is a Cree blessing song, and it talks about, my friend, I sing this song for you. I ask the Creator to give you a good life and lots of love. Niwichiwagan, nitikoche, niwichiwagan, kinkamostamaten, kimanitominau, nindotamawau, Mr. Hey, Sagihito Wen, Kia Wawoche, Weya, Weya, Heya, Nie, Weya, Weya, Heya. Dominau, Nindo Tamawau, Miopimatsi, Ewa Mr. Hey, Sagihito Wen, Kia Wawoche,
Madam Chair and Mr. President, I have the honor to present these graduates for admission to the degree of Bachelor of Nursing. And Dr. Lynn Corcoran and Dr. Margaret Edwards will join you to receive the graduates. Jacqueline Renai Abbott, St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador. Jacqueline thanks Alice, her clinical instructor in mental health, for her kind-heartedness and respect. Alice provided great knowledge to all of her students, and it was a pleasure to be part of her group. Jacqueline also thanks her husband Jim, who was her biggest supporter, and daughters Dominique and Sarah for their continuous support and encouragement. She now looks forward to sharing her knowledge and accepting new challenges. Jacqueline Rena Abbott. Megan Exenchuk, Calgary, Alberta. Megan's favorite AU experience was her community nursing practicum. It made her see a different side of nursing that she really enjoyed and will pursue in the future. She thanks her parents, Dale and Joyce Akenchuk, as well as her grandma and Guido, for all their support and encouragement throughout her studies. Her grandmother is the one who initially encouraged her to pursue this career and is here today attending Convocation. Megan Exenchuk. Nellie Doris Albornoz, Edmonton, Alberta. While completing this degree, Nellie became a unit manager at a busy hospital and later a patient care manager, a position she still holds. Finding a balance between work, study, and family life was not easy, but it has truly paid dividends. She thanks her husband and family for their unconditional love and support throughout her studies. This may not be the end of her years as a student, as she has developed a hunger for research in the field of nursing. Nellie Doris Albornoz. Susanna Aliabong, St. Albert, Alberta. Susanna appreciated AU Professor Yvonne Moore, whose comments always brought out the best in her and encouraged her to work harder. She also thanks her tutors for taking the time to answer her questions. As well, she acknowledges her husband and 2 sons for understanding that it was not easy to be a full-time mom while working full-time and also being a full-time student. They encouraged her and helped her with the housework when she had no time. Susanna Aliabong. Maria Wilma Almonte, Calgary, Alberta. Marie had a close call with one of her AU courses. She was certain she was going to fail it. But she worked hard, studied every day, and passed the course. One memory from her AU experience that she will take with her now is how Joanne DeForest was the kindest professor. She thanks her husband, her children, and her parents for their support. Now that she has completed this degree, she needs to pass the National Council licensure examination. Maria Wilma Almonte. Letitia Nana Apaya, Edmonton, Alberta. Letitia's nursing 401 clinical rotation was a real highlight for her. She gives special thanks to her peers in that course and to her instructor, Trudy. She found each of her clinical instructors to be respectful, patient, and super amazing, which added to the experience. She acknowledges her husband and her fantastic kids for the unconditional love, support, and prayers they provided. Without their encouragement, she would not have made it through. Letitia Nana Apaya. Crystal Lynn Arnold Swanson, Vermilion, Alberta. Crystal has had a great appreciation for her clinical professor, Apinder Singh, who challenged her knowledge and critical thinking skills, leading her to a stronger belief in her own strengths. She also appreciates Yvonne Moore, who provided positive and constructive feedback. She thanks her husband and children for their support throughout her studies, as well as her manager and colleagues at Wainwright Home Care for their encouragement and support. Crystal Lynn Arnold Swanson. Jaspreet Kaur Baines, Calgary, Alberta. Jaspreet thanks Athabasca University and all of her tutors, clinical instructors, and preceptors for their support and guidance. This accomplishment would not have been possible without them. She also thanks her close family and friends for the support they provided throughout all of the challenges of her AU studies. Finally, she thanks her employer for letting her take days and weeks off from work during her clinicals. Jaspreet Kaur Baines. Louise Ruby Baptiste, Langdon, Alberta. Louise thanks her partner, Derek Anderson, and her children, Danielle, Jacob, Brooke, Benjamin, and Jace, for their support, encouragement, and patience. It was not easy working full-time and raising a large family, but they helped a lot. She thanks Bow Valley College for allowing her to take time off to complete her practicums, and her AU tutors, instructors, nurse preceptor, and others at AU for their support. Louise Ruby Baptiste. Angela Marguerite Bedard, Maple, Ontario. Angela acknowledges her professors, Regan Hack and Tatiana Pinkonik, who are amazing and supportive teachers. She will remember with appreciation the support of fellow students she met online. She thanks her family, who were very supportive of her goal to complete this degree. They helped her to stay focused and dedicated throughout the experience. She's now looking forward to the new career opportunities that will open up for her. Angela Marguerite Bedard. Rosina Lorraine Bellick, St. Albert, Alberta. One instructor who will always stand out in Rosina's memory is Tatiana Pinkonik. Rosina's confidence as a nursing student quickly grew thanks to Tatiana's guidance and encouragement. She acknowledges her family for being her biggest supporters. Her mom spent countless hours supporting and encouraging her. Also, her dad, her sister, and her husband were great sources of motivation as they believed in her ability to complete this degree. Rosina Lorraine Bellick. Alice June Blackmore, Fredericton, New Brunswick. During her studies, Alice continued to work full-time and together with her husband raised 6 children. This busy period included the marriage of 3 of their children, the birth of a grandchild, and many other activities of normal living that challenged her focus on her studies. She thanks her family for their support, especially her husband, and for encouraging her to attend Convocation, and for attending with her to help celebrate this achievement. Alice June Blackmore. Amanda Boonstra, Smithers, British Columbia. To pursue and successfully complete this degree has been both the biggest challenge of Amanda's life and her greatest achievement. Her favorite instructor was Rosanna Knorr, who taught her the most about nursing and helped her make the most progress as a nurse. She thanks her parents, her husband, her friends, and her co-workers for their support. Now she can consider which specialty she is most passionate about and pursue the necessary training and education. Amanda Boonstra. Ashley Brewer, Whitehorse, Yukon Territory. Ashley's clinical practicum experiences gave her the opportunity to meet other AU students from different parts of Canada. She appreciated the experiences and knowledge they shared and the support they provided. She thanks others who supported her throughout her studies as well, including her family for their encouragement, her sister for helping her navigate Alberta, and her uncle for helping her get through her statistics course. Ashley Brewer. Jennifer Lee Helen Brower, Brockville, Ontario. Jennifer Lee will never forget the night shift where she and 2 of her co-workers, each with young families, took the plunge and enrolled in this program. They had no idea what they were getting themselves into, and now 7 years later, they have all completed the goal. She thanks many people for their support, including her husband Tim, her sons Danny, Josh, and Eddie, her family and friends, and her co-workers at the Brockville General Hospital Maternity Ward. Jennifer Lee Helen Brower. Carly Michelle Brown, Calgary, Alberta. After Carly registered for this degree, she became pregnant, resulting in the program lasting longer than expected. She ended up completing more than half of her requirements in the final year alone, putting huge demands on herself and her family. In the end, it was worth it, and she thanks her family, especially her husband Jamie, for their support. She also thanks each of her managers at work, including Linda Andrusu, Theresa Davidson, and Teresa Thurber. Carly Michelle Brown. Benedicta Campbell, Brampton, Ontario. Benedicta enjoyed her practicum experiences the most as they gave her the opportunity to meet her professors as well as practice her skills in the actual workplace. She thanks her husband Gary and her children for their great support while she completed this degree. Gary waited for her patiently at home in Toronto while she completed her clinicals in Alberta. She also thanks her sisters Francisca and Clarice for being the best cheerleaders. Benedicta Campbell. Cecilia Cardinoza, Calgary, Alberta. When financial challenges and a lack of sufficient time for her studies became issues, Cecilia overcame them by refocusing and setting her priorities and reminding herself that a success is possible through focus and hard work. She thanks her husband Marlon and sons Jan and Josh for their support, also her AU instructors and advisors for their guidance, and her family and friends for their prayers. Cecilia Cardinoza. Indira Chauhan, Markham, Ontario. Indira envisioned herself here today receiving her degree while dancing across the platform in the style of a Bollywood musical and making the crowd laugh. This degree is a lifelong dream come true for her. She felt that so many doors to this achievement had been previously closed, but where today there is a will, there is a way, and thanks to Athabasca University, she is here today. She thanks her daughter for always encouraging her, and she acknowledges her late parents for inspiring her to succeed. Indira D.K. Chauhan. Light Bosa Chiotu, North York, Ontario. Working full-time and going to school was not easy for Light. There were several times when the hope was that he felt there was no hope moving forward. Then he met academic coordinator Dawn Mercer-Rizelli, and that feeling changed. Dawn was an angel who provided tremendous support. Light also thanks others who supported and encouraged him, including Aunt Reverend Senior, her mother, his mother Grace Chiotu, and father Sir Steve Chiotu. Light Bosa Chiotu. Surrey Jean Dowell, Edmonton, Alberta. Surrey's clinical experience in acute care with instructor Susan was challenging and memorable, filled with surprises. She acknowledges her spouse Chris and her daughter Savannah for their support, and she's very pleased to have completed her BN degree before her daughter, who graduates in a few years. With this long-term goal now completed, she is looking forward to working in home care. Surrey Jean Dowell. Sarah Courtney Emond, Bowmanville, Ontario. Sarah began this program while pregnant with her first daughter almost 5 years ago. She finished her third clinical placement in Edmonton, 38 weeks pregnant. She continued this program through 2 more maternity leaves and while working full-time with 3 children under the age of 4. She thanks her family and friends who supported her, as well as all of the amazing fellow students she met who provided support and offered friendship. Sarah Courtney Emond. Nicole Elizabeth I, Calgary, Alberta. Although the most challenging part of this program for Nicole was the practicum requirements, being away for weeks at a time and having tight deadlines for assignments, the best thing about completing this degree is that she got the job of her choice based on her performance in her final focus practicum. She thanks her family for supporting her and making this possible, including her husband Dan, their daughters Zoe and Mila, her mom Anne, and many friends. Nicole Elizabeth I. Gabriella Gabriel Ferron, Edmonton, Alberta. Completing her degree with AU allowed Gabrielle to work, spend time with family and friends, do some traveling, and finish her degree without any debt. Her preceptorship in her last clinical was the most memorable because it greatly helped her to transition from student nurse to graduate nurse. She dedicates this achievement to her parents for the love, support, and guidance they provided. She also thanks her friends, especially Maria, for her support. Gabriella Gabriel Ferron. Jessica Caitlin Galbraith, Drumheller, Alberta. When Jessica started this program, she did not think she could complete it via distance learning. However, she kept a strict study schedule and made it through in less time than she originally planned. She thanks her husband Chance for his constant support and reassurance. She also thanks her family for their support, including her mom and dad, brother Wade, grandpa Doug, cousin Haley. Also for mutual support, her friend, co-worker, and co-student, Kristen. Jessica Caitlin Galbraith. Nancy Lynn Gallinger, Airdrie, Alberta. Nancy's family supported her every step of the way and kept her positive throughout each course. If it wasn't for her husband and her mom working their schedules around her clinical placements, she wouldn't be here today. Her kids put up with a lot, and she thanks them for helping her achieve her dream. Her grandparents always told her how proud they were that she was completing her degree, and they have flown out here to watch her walk the stage. Nancy Lynn Gallinger. Amina Gulzar, Markham, Ontario. While Amina did encounter a number of challenging circumstances that affected her AU studies, in the end she overcame them with the support of her family and her professors. She acknowledges each of them for contributing to her academic success, especially her husband and her children, without whose support she would not have been able to complete this degree. She now hopes to go for her Master of Science in Nursing degree. Amina Gulzar. Mandy Kim Gucci, Hannah, Alberta. Mandy acknowledges her co-workers and fellow classmates who always offered their support and encouragement. A highlight of her experience was the level of knowledge and expertise of her clinical instructors. Also in her final practicum, she created a bariatrics nursing module for the surgical units at the hospital where she is employed. Now that she has completed her degree, she is excited about the increased opportunities that lay ahead. Mandy Kim Gucci. Amy Nicole Hagland, Edmonton, Alberta. Amy will remember the bonds created with fellow classmates during their clinical practicums. They came together from all across Canada and shared laughter and tears as they navigated through this critical point in their studies. She thanks her family and friends for all their support while on this journey, with special thanks to her husband, Sean. The road has been long and not always easy, and without Sean's love and encouragement, she could not have completed this degree. Amy Nicole Hagland. Crystal Gail Hansen, Edmonton, Alberta. Although it has not been without its challenges, completing this degree has been a dream of Crystal's. She offers huge thanks to family and friends, especially her very patient husband Mike and their two daughters Jenna and Kendra, who are so understanding throughout all of her study needs and clinicals, on top of working night shift weekends for 5 years. She gives thanks also to both of their parents for their loving help and gracious financial support. Crystal Gail Hansen. Kimberly Ann Haberkamp, Hensel, Ontario. One thing Kimberly loved about AU was how well organized the process was for online learning. She never had any issues, always received the proper books and course outlines in a timely manner, and all of her tutors were fantastic teachers, each contributing to her success. She thanks her husband Brian, daughter Madison, and her mom and dad for their constant love, support, and encouragement throughout this journey. Kimberly Ann Haberkamp. Patley Sherlyn Jean-Francois, Calgary, Alberta. Completing a degree in nursing has been Patley's goal for quite some time. It was challenging to do while working almost full-time, but she kept telling herself that success will pay dividends down the road. During her clinicals, she met some amazing fellow students. She thanks her family, especially her parents, for their support and encouragement, and her friends who understood the sacrifices she had to make for her studies. Patley Sherlyn Jean-Francois. Coco Jin, Calgary, Alberta. English is a second language for Coco, and she found that her writing skills improved significantly as a result of her AU assignments. Even so, whenever she struggled, she would declare, "I am a nurse, not a journalist." She appreciates the support and guidance she received from each of her AU tutors. She also thanks her parents for financial and emotional support, and her husband for being her biggest supporter throughout her studies. Coco Jin. Kara Johnston, Calgary, Alberta. Kara's family, friends, and colleagues were all very supportive. Her most exciting and emotionally challenging courses were her clinicals, where she had to switch from mind frames from being an independent licensed practical nurse to being a student learning to be an independent registered nurse. She had 2 amazing preceptors who not only demonstrated how to be a great nurse, but also how to be a better mentor to others. Kara Johnson. Suhaila Kedri, Calgary, Alberta. Suhaila hopes that she will be an inspiration to other refugees who, like her, have fled war. She thanks Canada for allowing her family to take refuge here and make this their permanent home. She gives huge thanks to her husband Nazir for being her backbone throughout her studies. She is proud to be the first child of 8 in her family to hold a bachelor's degree. And she thanks her parents for engraving the importance of education into their lives. Suhaila Kedri. France, Marie-Claude Lelouch-Uffen, Calgary, Alberta. France very much enjoyed her learning experience with AU. The courses she enjoyed most were those that were immediately applicable to her nursing role, such as nursing management and nursing informatics. She thanks her family, her friends, and her current manager with Alberta Health Services for the support they provided throughout her studies. She offers her deepest gratitude to her husband Doug and her daughter Jessica. France, Marie-Claude LaRouche-Uffen. Sorry. Sorry. Geraldine L. Logan, Edmonton, Alberta. Geraldine thanks her parents for the encouragement and the money they provided. She thanks her children, Chance and Louise, for being so proud of her, and her sister Audra and brother Jason for being patient when she disappeared for months while studying. She also met some incredible people on this journey and thanks them for helping her see the light at the end of the tunnel. Geraldine L. Logan. Kristen Beverly Lowe, Drumheller, Alberta. Kristen appreciated meeting and connecting with instructors and fellow students during her clinicals. She found it to be immensely valuable. She acknowledges fellow student Jessica Galbraith for the blessing of her support. She thanks her parents and her sister for always cheering her on, providing encouragement, and listening to her whine about writing all those papers. She also thanks her husband Vince for his support and unwavering belief in her. Kristen Beverly Lowe. Ashley Amberly Luckwell, Camrose, Alberta. Although studying at a distance allowed Ashley to work at her own pace from the comfort of home, she also enjoyed meeting other students during the clinical portions of the program. She thanks her clinical instructors who, through their mentorship and encouragement, gave her the skills and tools she needs to become the RN she wants to be. She thanks her family, friends, and boyfriend Connor for their ongoing love and support. Ashley Amberly Luckwell. Sandra Maloney, Bassano, Alberta. AU gave Sandra the flexibility to study while still working full-time and chasing after her 2 active boys. She prefers to learn at her own pace, and she found it easy to do with AU. On one occasion, thanks to her husband, who did all the driving so she could study, she completed an entire course during the family vacation when they drove to Kansas City and back. She thanks her family for their support throughout her studies. Sandra Maloney. Kara Nicole Mall, Red Deer, Alberta. Kara found AU to be the only university that offered bridging from LPN to RN. One challenge she faced was focusing on studying and writing papers when there was so much else to do at home other than homework. She thanks her family and friends for their support, including her mom and future mother-in-law for their encouraging words. Most importantly, her fiancé, who was so very supportive and encouraging. They're getting married in August. Kara Nicole Mall. Marilyn Rose Muir, Winnipeg, Manitoba. When Marilyn was 13, she was diagnosed with cancer. This led to her career in nursing. She learned at an early age the impact that nurses have on patients and their families. She thanks her husband Rob for always being her biggest supporter and for his love and encouragement. She recognizes her two great friends and mentors, Cindy and Maureen, for the faith they had in her and for all the encouragement they provided along the way. Marilyn Rose Muir. Joyce Ndekezi, Edmonton, Alberta. Joyce thanks all of her AU professors. She gives special thanks to Trish and Tatiana for the encouragement they provided and for helping her to discover her abilities and potential. She also thanks her husband and children for their help with household chores. Her AU studies were overwhelming at times, and at one point she felt too worn out to continue, but she did not give up as she kept envisioning the end of her journey, and here it is today. Joyce Ndekezi. Monica Wendy Nelner, Trochu, Alberta. Monica had a passion for nursing, and she knew she was destined for more. Her dream was to become a registered nurse. The AU program allowed her to keep working and gain valuable experience while pursuing her studies and her dream. She thanks her husband Cam and her family, her close friends, and her colleagues for their unwavering support throughout this journey. Cam fully supported her quest, even when sacrifices were required to complete it. Monica Wendy Nelner. Lorianne Gail Noonan, Brockville, Ontario. Despite being terrified to fly, Lorianne got on an airplane and traveled here from Ontario to celebrate this occasion. She thanks her professors, especially Dr. Melissa Britton, for their support and guidance during her studies. She thanks her fellow classmate, Jennifer Brower, and her co-worker, Barb Ward, for sharing this experience with her and for their friendship. Lastly, she's grateful to her family for all the love and support they provided throughout her studies. Lori Ann Gail Noonan. Gloria Malong Olpindo, Calgary, Alberta. Gloria will never forget her favorite instructor, Tatiana Penconic. She found her experience with Tatiana to be rewarding and inspirational. She offers her heartfelt gratitude to her sister Marilyn and her daughter April for their unfailing help and support. They were her computer angels. She thanks her husband Nestor for always being there to support her and boost her morale and for empowering her to stretch herself further. Gloria Malong Olpindo. Sujata Tawari Pujal, Edmonton, Alberta. Sujata chose AU because of the flexibility of the program. Also, it allows her to work full-time while studying, and she saved on transportation and housing costs as well. She thanks her husband for being so supportive and for providing the inspiration and encouragement she needed to make it to graduation. She's planning to pursue her master's degree in the near future and expects to one day be a manager and an educator. Sujata Tawari Pujal. Lisa Marie Redford, Devon, Alberta. Lisa will always remember the wonderful nurses she met along the way, the nursing students, preceptors, staff nurses, and instructors she worked with. Each embodied the qualities found in exceptional nurses. She thanks her fellow students and her clinical instructors, Alice and Trish, for helping her to learn and grow. She thanks Kelly and Pam for helping with the kids, and her mom, dad, and children, Brant, Olivia, and Wyatt, for encouragement and understanding. Lisa Marie Redford. Pamela Marilyn Ronbeck, Calgary, Alberta. Pamela's son and daughter each have Bachelor of Nursing degrees, and now she does too. She enjoys mentoring and teaching upcoming nurses on the medical teaching unit where she works. Their students include medical doctors, nursing students, and nursing aides. She looks forward to using her new BN designation for that same purpose. She thanks her husband, children, family, friends, and co-workers for supporting her on this journey. Pamela Marilyn Ronbeck. Kuldeep Kaur Sandhu, Calgary, Alberta. One of the biggest ongoing challenges for Kuldeep was maintaining a balance between the multiple roles of student, mother, wife, and employee. It took thousands of sacrifices and a tremendous amount of hard work, but with sincere thanks to the great support received from her husband and family, especially her sisters, she has achieved her goal. Without the AU distance learning program, fulfilling this dream would not have been possible. Kuldeep Kaur Sandhu. Cheryl Ann Sorensen Voigt, Winnipegosis, Manitoba. This month marks Cheryl's 25th year as a registered nurse. She and her college roommate, Marilyn Muir, graduated in 1991 from different nursing schools, but they are both here today celebrating another milestone together. She thanks her husband and her children for supporting her during her time with AU. Although her studies sometimes took away from time spent with them, they always remained her biggest cheerleaders. Cheryl Ann Sorensen Voigt. Deneve Jeanne Spronk, Sherwood Park, Alberta. Deneve will fondly remember her clinicals where she connected with other students. In particular, she'll remember the phenomenal experience created by her medicine instructor, Tatiana Pinkonik. Her parents, Norm and Anita, deserve special recognition for the great support and encouragement they provided from the beginning of her studies to the end. She's now looking forward to spending more time with family and friends. Deneve Jeanne Spronk. Kira St. George, North Vancouver, BC. Kira wasn't able to get a credit for a research course she had taken at another university, so she had to retake the course with AU. As a result, she found a new passion for research. One of the final assignments inspired her to apply to conduct a research study, and she was funded to do it. She has since completed it. She thanks her mom and dad for always believing in her ability to do anything and be anything, and for helping to fund her degree studies. Kira St. George. Farija Stavidges. Sorry. Farija will remember all of the supportive instructors and peers with whom she shared this journey. Her educational experiences have helped her achieve greater confidence as a registered nurse. She thanks the AU staff, Capital Care Edmonton, and her family and friends for their support and encouragement, with special thanks to her husband Vinko, her daughter Dunja, and son Benjamin. She would not have reached her goal without their support. Farija Stavidges. Carrie Marie Stumpf, Houston, BC. Carrie appreciated the support she received from her AU tutors, and she particularly enjoyed her clinical experience where she met fellow students, made some new friends, and had the opportunity to hear their stories and experiences. She thanks her co-workers who provided encouragement throughout her studies and her family for being very supportive. She also thanks her friend Amanda. Together, they successfully completed this journey. Carrie Marie Stumpf. Cynthia Helen Sutter, Cochrane, Alberta. Cynthia quickly realized how critical her computer was as a lifeline to her success when her computer crashed mid-essay and she lost everything current and previous. She ended up buying a new computer, complete with a backup hard drive, to make sure this never happened again. She thanks everyone who supported her during her studies, including her fiancé, her parents and sisters, and her co-workers at the Foothills Medical Center. Cynthia Helen Sutter. Karen Eunice Swan, Debert, Nova Scotia. Before completing this degree, Karen always felt that there was unfinished business in her nursing education and that her career paths were limited. Now she has a firm foundation for the next steps of her education. So many more possibilities are available to her. She expresses sincere thanks to her husband Mark and to her daughter Mercedes for all the support they provided throughout this journey and to complete her degree. Karen Eunice Swan. Tandy Chuma, Edmonton, Alberta. Tandy chose AU for the convenience of studying while still working full-time. Although as a single mother, she did find it challenging to balance work, school, and family demands, especially during her practicum period. She worked very hard throughout her studies to achieve good grades, and she will remember how very understanding your instructors were. She thanks her children for their support and her friends who cheered her on when her course load was heavy. Tandy Chuma. Amandeep Uppal, Calgary, Alberta. Amandeep enjoys working in community health and working with other healthcare colleagues. Pursuing this degree was one of the requirements to work in her field. One course she will remember was her math course, taken during evening classes, where she enjoyed meeting her classmates and her professor. Her AU studies were not without some challenges, but she met them little by little and with the support of her family and friends. Amandeep Uppal. James Valido, Stettler, Alberta. One great AU experience for James was meeting other students in clinicals. They became friends, shared stories, and created strong bonds. He thanks his colleagues for being beacons of wisdom and light, especially when he was having trouble putting his thoughts into a paper. He thanks his family for providing strength and inspiration. And he thanks his friends for their trust and companionship. James Valido. Keisha Lee Werner, Red Deer, Alberta. 3 AU tutors that truly stood out to Keisha were Regan Hack, Dr. Alice Michaels, and Cynthia Tibbetts, and also Jacqueline Mann, for their ability to share their knowledge of nursing in a kind and supportive manner. She thanks her husband Jake, her mom and dad, and her family and friends for their support. Without it, she would not be walking across this stage today. So far, her greatest honor as a nurse has been taking part in the deliveries of her nephew and niece. Keisha Lee Warner. Valerie Nosa Yakubu, Calgary, Alberta. Valerie acknowledges and thanks her husband Abdul for stepping up in the many ways to help and support her throughout her studies. She could not have done it without him. She thanks her children Erica and Joshua for their patience and understanding. And she thanks Jacqueline Mann for being an amazing mentor and facilitator. Valerie will never forget how helpful Jacqueline was during her clinicals. Valerie Nosa Yakubu. Stacy Leanne Zimmer, Fernie, BC. Stacy wanted to live where she was, in a small town. She grew up in an even smaller town and didn't want to move to the city to complete her degree, so she has liked the freedom offered by the AU Distance program. A highlight was meeting some great people during her clinicals, where she enjoyed talking with those who experienced the same trials and triumphs as she did. She thanks her family and friends who were very supportive throughout her study. Stacy Leanne Zimmer. Madam Chair and Mr. President, this concludes the presentation of the Bachelor of Nursing graduates.